What's up, everyone? Michael Heath with Get Automating. And so I wear the same black Patagonia shirt for every episode. Not because I'm lazy, but because deciding what to wear is just too much work. And I figure if I wear the same shirt, I'm not spending 5 minutes making a decision. And also, Patagonia makes the best clothing and it supports a good cause. But decisions are not so easy all the time, like deciding, is it a Cloudflow? Is it a desktop flow? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Wearing the same shirt is like the Power Automate approach to fashion. Automate the tough decisions and use your brain power for what really matters.
Get automating, enhancing humans daily.
All right, so if you're familiar with Power Automate and its suite of products within, you're probably familiar with how to approach this. But if you're new to the platform, it can be challenging to understand what tool to use and when. And I'll add to that farther, some people don't even know that there's separate tools for cloud flows and desktop flows. And both products are Power Automate technically. So what are we doing here? Let's take a look. All right, so by now you should all be familiar with the screen I'm looking at, which is Power Automate. I like to refer to this as Power Automate Cloud, even though it's still one product referred to as Power Automate. Within this platform, that is make.powerautomate.com, we're going to look to automate those things that have a programmatic access. Remember covering the series on APIs. That's really what this particular interface is all about. Make.powerautomate.com is all about reaching out to those applications that we have an API to utilize and can call out and communicate with the other applications or interfaces. Within this, obviously, we have a automated Cloudflow, triggering that based off a response, instant Cloudflow, where a human is actually manually triggering this, or scheduling it out to happen at a later date. Now, we covered these in other videos. We're not going to unpack that anymore today. Again, what we're looking at here, if we create a flow, we're able to associate that with an action. Now, those actions are going to be predefined based off of what we're looking to accomplish in the application in which we're looking to interact with. And you can see here a long list of premium and standard connectors that are available to use within your flow. So let's just pick one for instance. We have Asana here. Here are the actions that are associated with that. Notice these are all going to be functioning off of an API call. That is, in the back end, we're communicating with that application and getting this work done. It's providing the variables. We may be providing the variables, but it's all done through this back and forth communication. That's a little bit different here than Power Automate Desktop. Now, truly, when we're looking to create flows that are interacting with things that don't necessarily have an API call. So let's say, for instance, web browsing or legacy applications. They're not going to have a programmatic way to communicate with it. So what we have to use is something called Power Automate Desktop Flow Designer. And this is a free download, but this is what it looks like, right? And the biggest difference here is, yes, you still have connectors. They're not necessarily referred to as connectors. You have actions that are listed here on our action pane. But the biggest difference here is that you're going to be using this for browser automation, web data extract, web form filling. If the page contains to, go to web page. The other thing that you're going to find in here is the ability to perform screen scraping. So if a certain text is on screen or certain pixels are on screen, you're going to capture that data and do something with it. The other thing you're going to have is this human synthetic transaction actions. So mouse and keyboard movement, get mouse position, move the mouse, send keys. Those are things that are very specific to Power Automate Desktop. So when you're looking to automate something that lives in the desktop environment or lives in an environment that's isolated from other applications and communicating with those applications, Power Automate Desktop is going to be your best choice. Now, this doesn't mean that the two are not connected. As we investigated earlier, if we're looking to create a desktop flow, we click on this, we add the flow name. This is going to take us out to our Power Automate Desktop Flow Designer. However, if we're looking to automate that process and not run it manually, we're actually going to call that flow with any of these first three options here. All right, so for some of you that may have been elementary, but the point I wanted to get across is that there are two different applications to help build out automations. You have Power Automate Desktop Flow Designer, those automations that don't necessarily have access to communicate with other platforms. So if you're looking to create human synthetic transactions where you're clicking and dragging and typing, Power Automate Desktop Flow Designer is the best choice. If you're looking to just programmatically interact and integrate with another application, it's probably make.powerautomate.com, which is where you can grab your connectors that are acting as APIs to interact with those other platforms. So I hope this was helpful to at least expose you to the two different wings to accomplish those goals in automation. Until next time, get automating.